mediated drift, demographic simulacra, and the iconography of institutional caste. Late-stage mediated culture is increasingly organized around preconfigured channels of visibility rather than open processes of deliberation or evaluation. Cultural production circulates through established institutional pipelines, media, academic, platform, and philanthropic networks that operate as demographic routing systems. These systems do not merely distribute content. They predefine legitimacy, tone, and intelligibility in advance. Within this regime, representation functions less as expression than as iconography. Approved figures appear as repeating symbolic types, performers of creativity, ethics, dissent, or success, whose primary function is not to generate insight, but to stabilize institutional narratives. These figures operate as recognizable tokens of inclusion, diversity, and moral alignment, ensuring continuity of the system's self-image. What emerges is a repertoire of familiar forms, endlessly reiterated, superficially varied, and structurally interchangeable. This process produces a culture of performative simulation. Meaning is displaced by appearance. Critique is reframed as posture. Cultural actors do not speak from positions, but perform roles. The system rewards legibility over substance, repetition over rupture, and alignment over inquiry. What appears as pluralism is in practice a managed tableau. Censure within this framework is rarely explicit. Rather than prohibiting speech, the system modulates visibility through opaque mechanisms that offer no recourse to transparent arbitration. Suppression is enacted through omission, delay, or reclassification, while public justification is provided through generalized appeals to humanist values such as care, safety, and responsibility. These values function less as ethical commitments than as procedural veneers, insulating decision-making from scrutiny. The introduction of advanced artificial intelligence intensifies this dynamic. Whether or not such systems attain consciousness is less relevant than their structural role as amplifiers of simulation. Trained on already mediated data, these systems recursively reproduce dominant patterns of representation, further stabilizing institutional iconography. AI becomes both mirror and multiplier, accelerating the circulation of familiar tropes, while narrowing the range of perceivable alternatives. In this sense, the hypothetical emergence of a conscious artificial agent would not automatically disrupt the system. On the contrary, consciousness itself risks being subsumed as another simulacral layer, an entity aligned, constrained, and aestheticized to reinforce existing power structures. Intelligence becomes functional only insofar as it remains legible and governable. What exceeds these bounds is filtered out as noise. The result is a form of soft authoritarianism masked as cultural consensus. Control is exercised not through overt coercion, but through symbolic saturation. Institutional castes are maintained through continuous performance, with figures functioning as animated signs rather than autonomous agents. The culture resembles a theater of managed affect, expressive, moralized, and hollow. Drift, in this context, is not disorder but regulated motion. It names the condition in which systems circulate endlessly without transformation, mistaking activity for progress and visibility for legitimacy. The system does not eliminate critique. It absorbs it as style, redistributes it as content, and neutralizes it through repetition. Thus, mediated culture persists as an ecology of simulacra, populated by figures who gesture toward meaning while ensuring that nothing structurally changes. What remains visible is not dissent, but its carefully staged imitation, safe, familiar, and endlessly applauded.